participants. And in case you have any issue, any guidance you need after this session, also you can contact Dr. Mose. So over to Dr. Mose. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, my sincere thanks to Mr. Moin Khan for giving a very nice introduction of me. Also, thankful to Mr. Chandrasekhar and the entire team of ACC for conducting this type of webinars. So today my topic is structural audit, condition assessment and repair rehabilitation of concrete structures. First of all, I will brief about the structural audit. Audit is not only meant for the old buildings, it is also applicable for the new buildings. I will show you some case studies where a new construction also required the structural audit. So the main purpose of structural audit is to find out the stability of the building, to find out any damage in the building. So basically we divide the structural audit into 4 parts. Classification of structural audit. So the purpose of structural audit is to find out whether any repairing is required in the structure. So what is repair? For example, you take one column and there is some crack, localized crack in the column, either horizontal or vertical. The entire column is intact, the crack is only at one place. So what we do? We repair that crack. Rehabilitation. So what is a rehabilitation? When the defects in the structure, like in column, if the cracks are in a series, that means the cracks are in number of locations. So we have to do repairing of individual cracks, individual honeycombings. So in the terms of structural audit, we call it is rehabilitation. The third part of the audit is retrofitting. So what is retrofitting? If the building is new, if the building is old, and if you find some defects in the structure, like in a beam or slab or a column, the defects are in a series. That means lot of honeycombing in the beam, slab, and you want to repair it, so we call it as a rehabilitation. Along with this, when you want to increase the loading on the present structure, for example, if the structure is designed for a 400 kg per meter square loading and we want to increase the loading for say 800 kg per meter square or 1000 kg per meter square. So what we do, we conduct the structural audit, we find out all the defects, then we do the repair, rehabilitation, and also we strengthen the structure with various methods like epoxy grouting, carbon wrapping, and we change the character of the structure to take the 800 kg or 1000 kg per meter square loading. So that phenomena in the structural audit is called as a retrofitting. And the fourth is conservation. So this conservation term is basically applied for the very old structures, heritage structures like old forts, temples. When we want to protect these old structures, all heritage structures, we go for a cement based grouting or a conventional lime based grouting. So that terminology we called as a conservation. Then we will come to the system approach of the structural audit. So the structural audit starts from the inquiry. Inquiry means identification of the project. Then next part comes initial investigation. So in the initial investigation, what is the purpose? Why the client called a civil engineer to any specific location or a specific building? So that is the initial investigation. Either it is settle, either some cracks are found, either we want to increase the loading on the structure, we want to construct additional floors on the existing floor, existing building. So that is the initial investigation. The next and the most important part is a visual inspection. So it is a very powerful tool, and with the help of visual inspection, you can identify the location of the cracks, the crack pattern, and depend upon that, we have to go for some non-destructive testings. And uh, on the basis of non-destructive testing, we have to go for the repair rehabilitation. So the next part is data collection. That is also very important part. So data collection includes soil testing reports, old cube test reports, structural drawings, architectural drawing. And based upon all these four parameters, we have to identify the locations for testing. So that is a non-destructive testing. We will come in detail about the non-destructive testing. Based upon the non-destructive testing, distress mapping, then damage mapping, then next part is a design verification. Design verification means verification of the structural drawings, architectural drawings. Then the next and the most important part is design for repair rehabilitation retrofitting scheme. That is also most important. Then based upon the repair rehabilitation scheme, work execution. Again, after the execution of work, we have to go for the non-destructive testing to confirm whether what work we have done is up to the mark, up to the satisfaction or not. And the last is regular monitoring of the structure, because we had done the repair rehabilitation, so it is not the new. So we have to do a regular monitoring of the repair rehabilitated structures. We will discuss few of the tests only because there are a number of non-destructive tests. We will discuss most important like a visual inspection, then rebound hammer, then ultrasonic pulse velocity, penetration resistance, pull-out strength, cover meter, pH and carbonation depth, corrosion mapping, half cell linear polarization, maturity meter, permeability test, radiography, and there are number of other tests, rigorous tests, which are available. So, but today we will only discuss about few of the important tests. Rebound hammer, I think everybody knows the rebound hammer gives the probable compressive strength of the concrete. It is a well established method. Uh, there is IS also 13311 part 2, and in the IS code various guidelines are also given. Today we will not discuss about the guidelines. The rebound hammer works on the principle of spring. The spring is established inside the hammer, and that gives the rebound hammer number. So with this number, when you plot this number on the graph, you will get probable compressive strength of the concrete. There are number of limitations also for the rebound hammer. Nowadays, the digital rebound hammers are also available that gives directly the compressive strength of the concrete. These are all the guidelines. I think these all guidelines are given in IS 13311 part 2. There are limitations in the rebound hammer. As per IS, it gives plus or minus 20% accurate results. So it is not, we cannot say it is 100%, but definitely you can say it is 80% accurate. You will get a good guideline. What is the compressive strength of the concrete? These are various factors affecting the guidelines: type of aggregate, degree of compaction, age of concrete, carbonation depth of the concrete, then cover of the concrete. Now, the next and the most important method, it is a proven method, that is a ultrasonic pulse velocity method. Ultrasonic pulse velocity method works on the principle of the ultrasonic pulses. Three type of testings are performed with ultrasonic pulse velocity. That is a direct transmission, semi-direct transmission, and surface transmission. In these three, the best is the direct transmission, which gives around about 90 to 95% accuracy. The main purpose of ultrasonic pulse velocity method is to find out any honeycombing inside the concrete, cracks inside the concrete, voids inside the concrete. There are two transmitters. One is a transmitter and second is a receiver. And the pulse velocity never travels from the air. So it always follow the solid path. So if any voids or honeycombing observed, it travels through a long distance. So that gives the pulse velocity result on the lower side. So if the results are on lower side, we can say there are some defects, cracks inside the concrete. This is that pulse velocity equipment. These are the guidelines given in IS 13311 part 1. If the pulse velocity is 4.5 kilometer per second, that means the velocity is traveling in a very high speed. That indicates there are no cracks, no voids in the concrete, and we called the concrete is excellent. 3.5 to 4.5 kilometer per second means the the concrete is in acceptable limit, no major cracks, no major voids, so the quality of concrete is good. 3 to 3.5 kilometer per second, that indicates there are some honeycombing, there are minor cracks inside the concrete, so we call the quality of concrete is medium. And if it is below 3, we call the quality of concrete is doubtful. That means there are number of voids, cracks inside the concrete. Now the third and the most important phenomena of the concrete, carbonation of concrete. Carbonation of concrete is directly related with the durability of structure. We will spend 4 to 5 minutes on a carbonation process. It's a natural process. Atmosphere contains 0.003% of the carbon dioxide, that is the CO2. It's a God gift. Atmosphere contains the water, that is a H2O. Also oxygen, O2. So, and concrete is calcium carbonate, that is CaCO3. When CO2, carbon dioxide, along with H2O, that is water, and O2 reacts with concrete, the CaCO3 converts to CaOH2, that we called as a carbonation process start. Here you can see the on the day of concreting, when the concrete is new, the pH of concrete is between 13 to 13.5. Sometimes with 53 it is a 14 also. With the effect of CO2, H2O and O2, the pH of concrete gets reduced. And the main attack is generally on the cover. The reinforcement is being protected by the cover, and the pH of cover concrete gets reduced, comes to 10.5 to 11, and it touches up to the reinforcement level. So what happens? When the pH of concrete is 10 to 10.5 and touches the reinforcement level, although you cannot see the reinforcement from outside, but the passive layer or the reinforcement which is given by the cover is destroyed, and this H2O, that is water, and O2, oxygen, directly attack on the steel. So what happens when H2O and O2 attacks on steel, that is Fe. So Fe plus H2O plus O2 becomes FeO. Again, FeO plus H2O plus O2, that is Fe2O3 and Fe3O4. So what happens when it is Fe3O4? The volume of steel gets expanded, and that exerts the pressure on the concrete cover, and concrete cover gets cracked. So it is a very common phenomena. It's a very simple chemistry of carbonation and corrosion of reinforcement. So when the reinforcement expands, cover cracks, the water, that may be atmospheric water, humidity, and oxygen, directly attack on the reinforcement, and the corrosion of reinforcement accelerates because of the direct attack of water and oxygen, and the cracking of the concrete gets start. This is the pH meter. It's a very simple test. Just take a sample from the concrete and check on the pH meter. That gives the idea whether the reinforcement is protected or not. This is a very simple test, field test, that is a carbonation kit, phenolphthalein indicator. You just spray the phenolphthalein indicator by drilling the hole in the concrete. If the concrete gets pink, you can say it is uncarbonated, and if it is a natural color, you can say it is a carbonated. Just drill it and take the sample for the pH and carbonation. The next, half cell potentiometer. This is the instrument by which you can find out the probable rate of corrosion inside the concrete. It works on the copper sulfate half cell, and there is a voltmeter. You just connect one probe to the reinforcement and the second to the half cell, and there is a sponge. Just wet the concrete surface, the circuit gets complete, and you will get a potential difference, and with the potential difference you can find out the probability of corrosion. This is the advanced version of linear polarization. This rate of corrosion reinforcement inside the concrete. This is that left side is a copper sulfate half cell, and the right side is a silver nitrate half cell. There are number of half cells available in the market by which you can find the rate of corrosion. This is the corrosion analyzer. Half cell, you can find out the rate of corrosion at one place. But if you have a corrosion analyzer, you can find out the rate of corrosion in the entire building by doing a setup at one place and just move the second probe and find out the rate of corrosion. This is a probe penetration. Just insert the anchor bolt and pull it. You know the pulling force. So with the help of pulling force and the diameter of probe, you can find out the compressive strength of the concrete. This is a semi non-destructive method, that is a core cutting. By doing the core cutting, you can find out the exact compressive strength of the concrete. Even with the core cutting, you can find out the correlation between ultrasonic pulse velocity and rebound hammer. So you can draw a correlation graph, a profometer that gives the cover and the depth of the reinforcement, rebar mapping. So this instrument is used to find out the diameter of reinforcement inside the concrete. These are the core samples. Now, based upon all this non-destructive testing, there are number of methods for the repairs, rehabilitation, and retrofitting, like a normal mortar, epoxy mortars, then epoxy grouting, polymer grouting, modified polymer plaster, then carbon wrapping, e-glass wrapping, conventional jacketing with pre-stress, self-compacting concrete jacketing, and there are number of methods. Today we will not discuss because there are more than 300 methods for the repairs and rehabilitation. We will go to straightway case studies. There you can find out various methods. Now we will come to a case study. It's a small house. It's a bungalow, ground plus 2-floor bungalow, and it's a new bungalow constructed in the year 2014. It is in Nagpur. So what happens? This bungalow is belonging to one Mr. Pandit ji, and after doing Vastu Puja in 8 days, somebody from the neighbor observed the building is tilted around about 300 to 450 that is 1 feet to 1.5 feet, suddenly in the month of October 2014. So, Panditji, he came to observe. He also observed the building is tilted. So, number of engineers, they visited the site. Then lastly, we had done the audit for this small bungalow. Here you can see one side is 100 and other side is 350 It is tilted. So immediately somebody has put a brickwork on the compound wall to protect from the falling. But after doing the structural audit, we check the design calculations, we check the structural drawings, we find the drawings are okay, the design calculations are everything is okay. And when we do the investigation of the foundation, we observe the piles, they are given 4.5 meter with double under ream. The designs are okay. 375 pile, double under ream, and 4.5 meter depth. But when we excavate one of the foundation, we observed the length of pile is only 1.5 meter to 2 meter, and that too without the bulb. So what happens after construction? When the water table is high, it takes a load. But in the month of October, when the water table is lowering down, suddenly 3 of the column get settled by 150 to 450 So because of the settlement of the pile, this the entire building gets tilted. Initially, the owner want to demolish the building, but ultimately, myself and the entire team, we do a lot of investigation, and we decided to provide underpinning. So we put 2 new foundations adjacent to the existing pile. We put a cap connecting the new foundation, and then we do the jacketing to the ground floor columns to transfer the vertical load, and ultimately we had done the repairs rehabilitation. So the audit is not only required for the old buildings, it is also required for the new buildings, and only because of the mistake of the contractor has to spend a lot of money and mental harassment also. So this should not happen. Uh, the second case study, this is also in the Nagpur. It's a well-known building in the year 2016. One of my friend called me in the morning. Uh, he observed some busting sound in this building. This building is constructed in the year 1986. So almost 28 years, 29 years old building. So suddenly 2 columns of the building gets busted and cracked. So he called me in the morning. So I and my friend went there, and immediately we recommend the society owners to vacate the flat and put the scaffolding below the building. So luckily the scaffolding is available very adjacent to this building, and we put the scaffolding. Here you can see the 2 columns. These columns are crushed, very badly crushed, and the reinforcement is also buckled. So then we do the structural audit. What is the reason? Only in 28 years life of building, why this happens? So this is the column on the ground floor, and the this crushing is happen in 450 of the length. What happens generally, we put a column scaffolding, column centering up to the height of 2.1 meter, and the last part, that is a 450 to 6 part, we called here in Maharashtra, that is a gabdi. We put this gabdi along with the scaffolding of the beams and slab, and it's a very common practice. Nowadays it is not there, but earlier it is very common practice to put the available concrete in this gabdi. That is the available concrete, aggregate, available cement, sand, and the quality control is not maintained. And uh, this concrete is done with this type of practice. So it's a very weak concrete, and nobody bothers about the curing for this small concrete. But at that time, they might not be knowing this concrete is so important, so important. With this bad quality of concrete, the building can be collapsed, building can be vacated in half an hour time. So uh, ultrasonic pulse velocity gives the poor concrete, rebound hammer gives a very less strength. So ultimately we decide to vacate the building and inform the police and the corporation and fire brigade. So building is vacated, and immediately in few days the building is demolished. So the main reason is bad quality of concrete, no curing. Nobody bothers about the main part of the column. The concrete should be very good in all part of the buildings. So if the 2 or 3 columns are neglected, that may create a very big havoc. Here you can see a slightly building is tilted. Now the next case study, this is also very important case study. This chimney is constructed in the year 1996. So it's hardly 24, 25 years old chimney, and it's 125-meter chimney. So here you can see the cover. What is the reason of early deterioration of this chimney? Number one, it is a cover. Here you can see a 5 cover, a 10 cover. This is a chemical plant. You can see a lot of chemicals, that is a chloride, sulfates, alumina. So many chemicals are coming from the chimney flumes. And it is only 5 10 cover you can see. So the carburation for 10 cover may take 15 years of time. And after 15 years, accelerated corrosion is observed. You can see a lot of corrosion. All horizontal hoop stays reinforcement, they are broken because of the excessive stress. The 12 bar becomes 4 bar. Here you can see a 12 bar. You can see it 2 or 3 So no horizontal reinforcement. This is 115 meter. No reinforcement. It is 100% corroded. Here you can see the major corrosion. So the main reason of early deterioration is the cover. So I appeal to all the civil engineers to maintain a proper cover. Like in this type of chimneys, it may be a 35 mm or a 50 mm. Try to maintain a very good quality of cover, particularly in the chemical attack structures. So a small neglected part can create a havoc. So the owner want to demolish this chimney, but the main problem is this is situated exactly center of the plant, and this chimney is connected by the 4 plants. So if this chimney is demolished, entire plant will be shut down. So ultimately they decided to repair this chimney, and in the year 2010 this were done, and it is repaired. They spent a lot of money in the repairing. So here you can see uh, carbonation depth has crossed the reinforcement level, major corrosion in the reinforcement. So when there is no reinforcement, major cracks appear. Hoof stress exceeds the limit, the concrete get cracks. This is the cover meter, Hilti cover meter. With this, even you can see the reinforcement by naked eyes, no need for the cover meter test. But we have checked it, and we found the cover is 5 mm to 10 mm only. So now we will come to the next case study, that is the Phule market. In Nagpur, it is one of the biggest indoor market, and very well planned market, constructed in the year 1964. So in the year 1964, Nagpur Municipal Corporation and renowned architect and structure engineer, uh, they use AM20 grade concrete in the year 1964. So the main reason of deterioration in 45 to 50 years, although the 45-50 years is a healthy span, but still we have find out the reason of the deterioration. So the reason is non-maintenance, because here you can see a 24-meter long columns, and all shops are located near the columns. So the maintenance agency, they cannot erect the scaffolding to do the painting also. So since 40-45 years they have not done the painting, and because of that, carbonation process start, and with the carbonation, major corrosion starts in the columns. Here you can see the hinge column and the major corrosion. So when the corrosion starts, it cracks the cover concrete, and water enters and attack directly on the reinforcement, and accelerated corrosion starts, and some part of the roof that also collapse. So the structure becomes unsafe. So there are almost 400 tenants. So the commission decided to go for the repair rehabilitation, and in the year 1998, almost 22 years before, uh, the corporation has done the building work. Here we go for the epoxy grouting and microfine cement grouting. In 98-99, the epoxies are not available. So the epoxies are brought from the Germany. Dr. Beg, the only company in India, he is supplying the epoxy, and it is very good material. Since 22 years, we are observing this, and the structure is still in a good condition. So here you can see the jacketing of the column by angles and the flat. Somewhere we put a conventional reinforcement also. The another column, the same condition, major corrosion. So here the reason is only non-maintenance. The quality of concrete is good, only non-maintenance of the structure. So maintenance is also very important part. So here putting the new reinforcement, in the edge valley beams. This by putting the new reinforcement, we have put a micro concrete. Those days the ready-made macro concretes are not available, so we have made the macro concrete on the site. This is the south side view after repair. Okay. Now we will come to the next case study. This is also very interesting case study. This is a 1 lakh capacity stadium. This is also in Nagpur. That is the Yashwant Stadium. This stadium is constructed in the year 1975, and in only 25 years span, some portion of the slab they are damaged, and some portion of the slab uh, they are fall down. So we had done the structural audit in the year 1999, which is 21 years before. These are all old photos. So we had done the structural audit. Then the main reason of early deterioration only in 25 years. Generally, we design the structure for the 75 years or 100 years. So we can design the structure for 100 years. But we have to follow some rules. Here you can see the main beam, that is a 12.5-meter cantilever. It's a very big cantilever, and uh, 8 bars of 32 mm in the bottom. So you can imagine 12 bars of 32 in the top. Designs are perfect, no problem with the designs. Only problem is placing of reinforcement. Here you can see no cover to the reinforcement. So day one, the reinforcement is exposed to the atmosphere. So the corrosion start in the day one. So 1975, you can imagine 25 years, the reinforcement is exposed and continuously H2O and O2. Here there is no concern of the carbonation because the reinforcement is already exposed. So Fe, that is steel, become FeO, Fe2O3, Fe3O4. Volume of the reinforcement expands and spalling of the concrete gets started. So the one reason, that is the cover. The second and the most important reason, this size of beam is 350 by 1500. As per the design calculations, everything is okay. But what happens when you put a 12 bars of 32 mm in the top and 8 bars of 32 mm in the bottom? The contractor has put, the designer has given a very properly 4 bars in one layer. He put 6 bars in the top, 6 in 2 layers, and 6 bars in the bottom. So what happens? There is no space between the bars. So the contractor or the supervisor, he increased the more water. So to get the concrete inside the beam. So uh, when we had done the investigation, we asked the old peoples. So they said we put water by the buckets. So when we ask, have you calculated the volume of water? No, no, no. We put a water only to get the concrete inside the beam. The third reason, the quality of centering is also not good. So slurry of the concrete, it comes outside. So giving a lot of honeycombing, lot of voids inside the concrete. So the first reason is the cover. Second reason is a water cement ratio. Now, the water cement ratio plays a very major role, in durability of concrete. For the heat of hydration, when you mix the water in the concrete, that is the cement, aggregate, sand, and water. So only 16 liter 16 liter water is required for the heat of hydration of 50 kg bag of cement. So 16 liter means 0.32 water cement ratio. So 0.32 water cement ratio, practically it is very difficult on the site to mix the concrete. So what we do, we increase the water cement ratio. So say 0.45 or zero point 0.5. Generally on the site it is a 0.45 to 0.5. So 0.5 water cement ratio means 25 liters of the water. So 25 liters of the water and required is only 16 liters of water. So 9 liters of water is excess. So 9 liter of water means 18% of the water is excess, which evaporates after 28 days and leading the voids inside the concrete. So the density 100%, we target for the 100% density, we get 18% less density than the required. So when the density is less, of course, the probable compressive strength of the concrete is also less. When the compressive strength is less, the E, modulus of elasticity, that is 5700 root FCK is less. When the E is less, the deflections what we have calculated theoretically is more, because the deflection is 5 by 384 WL cube upon EI. So E is in denominator. When E is less, the deflections are more. So the same phenomena we observe in this case study also. So the water cement ratio plays a very major role. Try to reduce the water cement ratio. Try to put a 0.32 water cement ratio by adding a super plasticizers, hyper plasticizers. Now in Nagpur also you can witness a lot of good construction like a metro rail and flyovers and bridges. They are maintaining a 0.32 water cement ratio. So with this 0.32 water cement ratio, you can have a 100% dense and a durable concrete. If it is a 0.32 or say 0.3536, you can say the life of structure is definitely more than 75 years. So these are two major findings. One is a cover and second is a excessive water cement ratio. So this is the 3 meter by 3 meter patch of the slab. So it gets collapsed. So these all stories already published in newspapers those days. So ultimately, we had done a repair rehabilitation schemes, and uh, with this polymer grouting, epoxy grouting, then modified polymer plasters, we had done the repairing of this stadium. So it is still in a very intact and a good condition after 20 years. Now we will come to the marine structures. Uh, you all know the marine structures that is on the sea, jetty. A lot of acid attacks, environmental attacks are happening in the marine structures. Lot of chlorides, sulfates, salt, and of course humidity, that is the water. So it is constant attack by the chemicals. So this jetty is constructed in the year 1998 and 2006 we are done. So in very 8 to 9 years span. So you can observe, you can see a major corrosion. The reason of corrosion is, of course, the carbonation of concrete. So with the carbonation of concrete, the pH of concrete get reduced, and water H2O directly attack on the reinforcement. And here you can see a 40 to 50%, somewhere it is 80 to 90% corrosion. The rings are, the stirrups are broken. The main reinforcement of 32 mm that reduced to 12 mm, 13 mm. So the beam section becomes under reinforced, and major structural cracks are observed in this jetty. Here, this is the slab. Then, based upon the structural audit and non-destructive testing, we have done the damage mapping. Here you can see all red spots. Red spots means major corrosion, major deterioration of the concrete. Then distress mapping. Damage mapping means the mapping of the all damages in one stroke. Distress mapping means the excessive stresses on that particular locations. Then, based upon all these structural audit and testing, we had done a repair rehabilitation by doing epoxy grouting, then modified polymer plaster, and then the carbon wrapping. This you can see the same jetty beams after repair. The pier caps, the beams after repair. Then after doing all the repairs, here again the non-destructive testing with ultrasonic pulse velocity and rebound number to check the quality of repaired material, to check the quality of the repaired structure, that is a beam, slab. It is the standard procedure of the structural audit. In 2009 we had done this. 2006 we had done the audit, and 2009 the entire structure is being repaired. This is very interesting case study. This is jetty number 2. It is very adjacent to first jetty. It is in Bul Dwarka. This is also a very old jetty, and here also you can see a major corrosion. So our client, they decided to demolish this jetty and make a new one. The width of jetty is 12 meter, and the load carrying capacity of the jetty is 15 ton. So this jetty is designed for to carry the 15-ton trucks. But now, as per the new requirement, they want to take a 35-ton trucks on the jetty, and this 12 meter is also not sufficient. So they want to make it a 24 meter. So they go for the environmental clearance, as it is an international jetty. So they are given the clearance not for 24 meter, but only for the 12 meter. So then again the client reaching for that. So when the new jetty is also only 12 meter, so why to go for the new piles and new beam? So then they think for the repair, rehabilitation, and retrofitting. That is the third concept. Retrofitting of this jetty. So we had done a lot of exercise, and we have prepared the scheme. Very simple. We increase the depth of existing beam by 450 mm by putting the additional reinforcement. So now the main question is how to put the concrete. So we have developed a self-compacting concrete. You can see the windows. Self-compacting concrete, this we have done in 2009, almost 11 years before. So we add a VMA, that is a viscosity modifying agent, and we had done a lot of trials, and M35 concrete we have made, and we put the concrete from the windows and we increase the depth of the beam. So after increasing the depth, of course the deflections are also less, and we redesigned this jetty for the 35 ton of the truck loading. After doing the jacketing to the beams, we go for the carbon wrapping. All beams we had done concrete jacketing with additional reinforcement. Then we go for the carbon wrapping. 2 layers, one in horizontal direction, second in shear direction. So one layer is for the bending and one layer for the shear. Here you can see the jetty after repair. Now the next case study, it is a very common problem for all the cement silos. As the ACC also, they are also experiencing, the thickness of silos are very less. They are say 350 mm to 400 mm, because as per the designs they are okay. But the construction of 350 and 400 mm of the wall thickness and say height is 60 to 70 meter with a slip form, it is very tricky. It requires a lot of skilled techniques and skilled manpower. So if something gets wrong at the time of construction, it reflects very immediately, because 350 mm thickness and 16 mm or 20 mm of the bars and putting the concrete. So what happens, sometimes honeycombings and cracks are left inside the concrete, and again the entry of the water from the outside, and inside it is a raw material like a gypsum, lime. So the attack is from the both side, from inside as well as outside. So here NDT shows a lot of honeycombing inside the concrete. So all honeycombings are at the time of original concreting only. The rebound hammer that gives the compressive strength. So based upon all the structural audit and testing, we found a lot of honeycombing is there. So we decided to go for the epoxy grouting. So here we have done epoxy grouting to the entire silo to fill all the gaps. So after doing grouting, again we check with ultrasonic. So all the readings which are below 3, they are above 3.5 or 4 because of the epoxy grouting. Then after doing grouting, for the confinement of the repairing system, we put a carbon wrapping. Here you can see the same silos during the repair. So it's old silo, 1974 to 1976 they are constructed, and still you can say it is in a good condition. Now this is a very interesting case study. It's a very old school building. It is in Nagpur. So here again the deterioration, early deterioration is because of non-maintenance and non-awareness of the cleaning of the building. So the owner said they don't know to remove all the small trees from the terraces, small trees from the chajja. So lot of trees are there, small trees. So what happens, these trees, the roots, they are traveled up to the reinforcement and they supply the water to the reinforcement. And when reinforcement steel gets contact with water, of course the corrosion starts. And here you can see 80 to 90% of the reinforcement in the main column, ground floor column, it is corroded. Somewhere it is 100%, no reinforcement. And this is only because of the non-awareness. So the trees which grow on the terraces, they are very dangerous. So you have to take the trees immediately. Otherwise, they supply oxygen as well as the water to the reinforcement, and the tree grows very fast. Generally, people tree or neem tree, they are, you can observe on the terraces, so they are very dangerous. Here you can see all the chachas, major corrosion. Here, after removing the concrete, you can observe only reinforcement. The other structures, other part of the building, that is the inside classroom, beams and everything is okay. So we decided to go for the conventional column jacketing. Here we put a new reinforcement and do a conventional column jacketing. The jacketing is in progress. This column is after jacketing. You can see the beams, a major corrosion. Here we are applying a rust converter. The main purpose of rust converter is to clean the reinforcement. It also cleans the excess rust from the reinforcement. And if the reinforcement is more than, if the corrosion is more than 40-50%, generally we replace the reinforcement with a new one. A major corrosion in the slabs. Here you can see all the jacketed columns. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thanks for your enlightening lecture. So I request Mr. Chandu to take over. 1 minute. Yeah, Chandu, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you to everyone. मैं आप सबका धन्यवाद देता हूं, और अगर आपके कुछ क्वेश्चंस है तो प्लीज यहाँ पे जो चैट है, यहाँ पे आप आपके क्वेश्चन टाइप कर सकते हो. आपको जिसको भी क्वेश्चन देने हैं, आप आपके क्वेश्चंस दे सकते हो. सर एक क्वेश्चन है राम हरि कुमावत जी का, uses of newly received reinforcement steel to site which is reddish in color, shall we use or not?
Okay, so he meant to say when the reinforcement color is only reddish.
Yes, sir.
Not to worry, because if the reinforcement lies on the ground or say on the site for 1 year or 2 years, a small scale is developed on the reinforcement. That is a very small film of the corrosion. You can use it, but only thing, you just remove that scale with a rust converter. Nowadays,
Okay,
so many rust converters are available. You just clean it and use it. Absolutely no problem.
Sir, one question is there. Sir, in the apartment where 2 columns were busted, why wasn't there any possibility of repairing? कॉलम 2 कॉलम ब्रस्ट हुए तो उसमें कोई पॉसिबिलिटी है क्या रिपेयरिंग की?
बिल्कुल
नहीं समझ सके सूरज स्वामी जी.
बिल्कुल. ये क्या हुआ है कि ये वहां पे बिल्डिंग्स है, विंग ए, विंग बी, विंग सी, विंग डी. सो ये जो डिमोलिश हम लोग ने किया, दैट इज द विंग डी. इट इज कनेक्टेड विथ विंग सी. जब ये 2 कॉलम बस्ट हुए, ये बिल्डिंग लगभग 150 to 300 mm सेटल हो गई, और जब ये सेटल हुई, ये विंग सी को साथ में लेके सेटल हुई. So there are lot of cracks in other building also, which is adjacent. और ये because of the differential settlement in the foundation, ये cracks roof level तक के penetrate हुई. So इसके repairing की scheme भी हम लोगों ने बनाया था. बट रिपेयरिंग का स्कीम इज, जो कॉस्ट हम लोग ने निकाला है, इट इज एज गुड एज अ न्यू कंस्ट्रक्शन। और उसके बावजूद भी ये बिल्डिंग जो टिल्ट हुई थी, जो सेटल हुई थी, उसको सीधा करना इज वेरी वेरी डिफिकल्ट।
सर और एक क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाट इज द एडवांटेज एंड डिसएडवांटेज ऑफ यूजिंग री-रोल्ड reinforcement steel for construction since lot of re-rolled in available in the market?
Re-rolled steel.
Yes sir.
Okay, it is a good question. वैसे रिपेयर रिहेबिलिटेशन में ये नहीं आता है, फिर भी आई विल डेफिनेटली आंसर दिस। री-रोल्ड स्टील जो आता है, बेसिकली स्टील मैन्युफैक्चरिंग कंसेप्ट हमको समझना पड़ेगा। The steel is rolled, a steel is manufactured either by ingot and billets or by melting the scrap. Re-rolled steel जो होता है ये बनता है scrap melting से। अब if you talk about the ingot and billet, the quality control can be maintained in ingot and billet. ये scrap से जो रोलिंग होता है इसमें कोई क्वालिटी मेंटेन होती नहीं है। दैट इज द रीजन ये 3-4 हजार रुपए से 5,000 रुपए से मार्केट में सस्ता रहता है। नंबर 1। नंबर 2, अभी ये जो स्क्रैप से जो रेनफोर्समेंट बनता है, इसके ऊपर में सबसे स्टील की कॉस्ट बढ़ती है 2 चीजों से। वन इज अ क्रोमियम एंड निकल। ये 2 क्रोमियम निकल दे आर रिस्पॉन्सिबल फॉर द ड्यूरेबिलिटी ऑफ द रेनफोर्समेंट। यदि क्रोमियम निकल है ही नहीं, या जितना 0.003% और 0.26% लगता है उतना यदि नहीं है, तो ये रेनफोर्समेंट यदि पानी के साथ जैसे ही कांटेक्ट में आएगा, ये एक्सीलरेटेड करोजन डे 1 से शुरू हो जाएगा। उसका हार्डनेस का प्रॉब्लम है, कार्बन का प्रॉब्लम है कि तो स्क्रैप से बना हुआ, रीरोलिंग से बना हुआ रेनफोर्समेंट में क्वालिटी चेक्स यू कैन नॉट डू इट। तो रीरोलिंग का स्टील डेफिनेटली सस्ता है, पर क्वालिटी नहीं रहने की वजह से इट इज नॉट रिकमेंडेड। या रीरोलिंग का आप ले रहे हो, यू गो फॉर द चेकिंग, प्रॉपर चेकिंग।
सर एक क्वेश्चन है कि व्हाट इज द कंक्रीट ग्रेड जनरली यूज्ड इन जैकेटिंग?
फॉर द जैकेटिंग,
यस सर,
it is generally, if the original concrete is M35, we go for 1 grade higher, that is M40. If the original concrete is M45, we go for the jacketing of M50. If the original concrete is M15, go for jacketing with M20 only. इसका रीजन आपको बताता हूं। ओरिजिनल कंक्रीट एंड जैकेटेड कंक्रीट, इसका श्रिंकेज, क्रीप और बिहेवियर और मॉड्यूलस ऑफ इलास्टिसिटी, यू हैव टू मैच विद द ओरिजिनल कंक्रीट। बहुत अर्ली स्टेज में हम लोगों ने, जैसे M15 का कंक्रीट था, M20 कंक्रीट था, हमने जैकेटिंग कर दिया M40, M45 कंक्रीट से। अब M45 का बिहेवियर डिफरेंट है और M15 का बिहेवियर डिफरेंट था, डेफिनेटली वो जैकेटिंग में क्रैक आ गए। फिर हमने जब उसको डिटेल इन्वेस्टिगेशन किया तो पता चला कि जो ओरिजिनल कंक्रीट है, if it is M15, go for M20 जैकेटिंग ओनली। तो दोनों का बिहेवियर मैच होगा और देयर शुड नॉट बी एनी क्रैकिंग इन द रिपेयर स्ट्रक्चर।
सर हमारे इंजीनियर सर है जतिन अंबानी सर, आप शायद उनको जानते होंगे।
हाँ हाँ हाँ।
उनका क्वेश्चन है कि हाउ डू यू डिजाइन फाइबर रैपिंग फॉर योर प्रोजेक्ट?
फाइबर रैपिंग,
यस सर।
देखो, इट्स अ शॉर्ट क्वेश्चन बट वेरी लॉन्ग आंसर। मैं शॉर्ट में बताता हूँ आपको, वेरी शॉर्ट। अभी फाइबर रैपिंग, ई ग्लास रैपिंग, कार्बन रैपिंग 1600 न्यूटन पर mm स्क्वायर से लेके 4300 न्यूटन पर mm स्क्वायर टेंसाइल स्ट्रेंथ के रैप्स मार्केट में अवेलेबल है। अभी फॉर एग्जांपल यू टेक अ बीम ऑफ 5 मीटर विथ लोड ऑफ 400 kg पर मीटर स्क्वायर। अभी आपको इसको 800 kg पर मीटर स्क्वायर करना है। सिंपली सपोर्टेड बीम WL स्क्वायर बाय 8, फाइंड आउट द बेंडिंग मोमेंट। ये मैं बिल्कुल बेसिक बता रहा हूँ, इसके बाद के बहुत सारे चेक्स रहेंगे। फाइंड आउट द बेंडिंग मोमेंट फॉर 400, चेक द बीम, फाइंड आउट द बेंडिंग मोमेंट फॉर 800 kg। अब जो डिफरेंस आ रहा है मोमेंट ऑफ इनर्शिया ऑफ द ओरिजिनल बीम, जो डिफरेंस आ रहा है उसके लिए यू हैव टू डिजाइन फॉर द layers of the carbon wrap by taking 3400 Newton per mm square tensile strength and find out the cross section area required for the carbon wrapping and whether it is required only for the bending or for the shear. It is simple as a design of the RCC. सिर्फ बेसिक पैरामीटर्स आपको अलग लेना है और इसके चेक्स कुछ अलग है, पर बेसिक डिजाइन प्रिंसिपल सेम है। हुप स्ट्रेस के लिए जो फाइंड आउट द हुप स्ट्रेस, फाइंड आउट द क्रॉस सेक्शन एरिया रिक्वायर्ड फॉर द कार्बन रैपिंग एंड प्रोवाइड द सेम एरिया।
सर एक क्वेश्चन है कि एक बिल्डिंग है जो पूरे 7 से 8 घंटे फायर में चलती रही है, उसके बाद उसका पूरा प्लास्टर डैमेज हुआ है, तो ऐसे बिल्डिंग में हमने क्या टेस्ट करना चाहिए? क्या रिबॉन्ड हैमर से होगा या कोई दूसरा टेस्ट करना है?
8 घंटे फायर में था।
यस सर।
ये नागपुर का लास्ट वीक हुआ वही तो नहीं?
संदीप पाठक है सर, इंजीनियर संदीप पाठक।
नागपुर से है?
नहीं सर।
अच्छा एनीवे जो भी है, अभी लास्ट वीक भी एक नागपुर में मेजर फायर हुआ है। नहीं, फायर असेसमेंट के लिए बहुत सारे चेक्स करना चाहिए। सबसे पहले द टेम्परेचर, उसका टेम्परेचर कितना था वो आपको असेस करना है। नंबर 2,
वो परभनी से सर, परभनी से।
परभनी से है। नहीं तो सबसे पहले टेम्परेचर ऑफ द फायर, नंबर 2 ड्यूरेशन ऑफ द फायर, ये दो चीजों के ऊपर में फायर असेसमेंट करना चाहिए। तो अभी टेस्टिंग के लिए विल गो फॉर द टेस्टिंग, सिर्फ रिबॉन्ड हैमर से होगा नहीं। यहाँ आपको यदि फायर का ड्यूरेशन ज्यादा है, यू हैव टू गो फॉर द कोर कटिंग। रिबॉन्ड हैमर जो है फायर स्ट्रक्चर्स में रॉन्ग रिजल्ट देता है। द रीजन इज जब फायर लगता है तो टन्स ऑफ कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड CO2 वहां पे जनरेट होता है, और जब आप उसको बुझाने के लिए पानी डालते हैं तो CO2 प्लस H2O वेरी वेरी हाई एक्सेलरेटेड कार्बोनेशन होता है, और कंक्रीट का टॉप सरफेस जो है वो काफी हार्ड हो जाता है। तो आप देखेंगे इफ द ओरिजिनल कंक्रीट इज M20 और रिबॉन्ड हैमर से देखेंगे आपको 40 और 45 का स्ट्रेंथ देगा, दैट इज नॉट अ करेक्ट स्ट्रेंथ। तो आपको कोरिलेशन ग्राफ निकालना है। सो वो कोरिलेशन ग्राफ आप सिर्फ कोर से ही निकाल सकते हैं। टेक द कोर, ऊपर का कार्बोनेशन सरफेस आप रिमूव कर दीजिए, जहां कोर निकाला वहां रिबॉन्ड हैमर भी टेस्ट करिए, वो कोर को कंप्रेसिव मशीन में टेस्ट करिए और रिबॉन्ड हैमर का और कंप्रेसिव टेस्टिंग का ग्राफ बनाइए। तो रिबॉन्ड हैमर, कोर एंड नंबर 3 इज अल्ट्रासोनिक पल्स वेलोसिटी, ये 3 टेस्ट आपको करना ही है।
सर और एक क्वेश्चन है कि हमें क्या ट्रीटमेंट सर आप रिकमेंड करोगे जॉइंट के लिए, कंक्रीट स्ट्रक्चर के जॉइंट के लिए, टू अवॉइड पेनिट्रेशन एंड लीड ऑफ करोजन इन रेनफोर्समेंट स्टील? जॉइंट दो स्ट्रक्चर का जो जॉइंट आता है, कंक्रीट जॉइंट,
मतलब ओल्ड टू न्यू कंक्रीट जॉइंट है या एक्सपेंशन जॉइंट है?
ओल्ड टू न्यू जॉइंट सर।
ओल्ड टू न्यू जॉइंट, देखो ओल्ड टू न्यू जॉइंट ये बहुत सारे टाइप के हो सकते हैं। सबसे पहले ट्राई टू पुट अ शियर की। यदि आप नया कंक्रीट और पुराना कंक्रीट आप यदि जोड़ रहे हो तो उसमें एक बीच में 20 mm बाय 20 mm का एक ग्रू कटिंग कर लीजिए, शियर की जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं। तो बाय पुटिंग द शियर की द वाटर कैन नॉट पेनिट्रेट, नंबर 1। नंबर 2, अगेन द कवर, ट्राई टू मेंटेन अ गुड क्वालिटी कवर। आप जितना अच्छा कवर मेंटेन करेंगे उतना आपका रेनफोर्समेंट प्रोटेक्ट रहेगा और उतना स्ट्रक्चर जो है वो ड्यूरेबल रहेगा।
सर what will be the effect of fire on reinforcement and how it is tested?
गुड क्वेश्चन। देखो अभी इसमें अगेन जो मेन रोल होता है वो टेम्परेचर का। 400 डिग्री के नीचे यदि फायर है तो रेनफोर्समेंट में कोई इफेक्ट होता नहीं है। If it is below 400 and duration is up to 2 hours because our structure is designed for fire resistant of 2 hours. यदि 400 डिग्री के ऊपर में टेम्परेचर रहेगा और दो घंटे के ऊपर यदि टेम्परेचर रहेगा, डेफिनेटली मैकेनिकल प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ द रेनफोर्समेंट चेंजेस। रीहीटिंग जिसको हम लोग बोलते हैं, उस टाइप का बिहेवियर उसमें होता है जिसमें डक्टिलिटी कम होती है रेनफोर्समेंट में। यदि 400 के ऊपर में और 5 और 6 घंटे यदि फायर रहा तो वो रेनफोर्समेंट डक्टिलिटी रिड्यूस करते जाता है, और जब डक्टिलिटी उसकी प्लास्टिक स्टेज तक आती है देन ओनली द रेनफोर्समेंट ब्रेक्स।
सर हम आपने साइट पे माइक्रो कंक्रीट बनाया है, क्या आप उसकी प्रोसीजर बता सकते हो? कि क्योंकि आजकल जो माइक्रो कंक्रीट है वो इट इज वेरी एक्सपेंसिव।
बहुत सिंपल है, बहुत सिंपल है। माइक्रो कंक्रीट आप साइट पे बहुत आराम से बना सकते हैं। माइक्रो कंक्रीट बनाने के लिए आपको क्या लगेगा? सबसे पहले माइक्रोफाइन सीमेंट, अल्कोफाइन, जो आज इंडिया के अंदर में इंडियन एक ही प्रोडक्ट है अल्कोफाइन, ये एसीसी वालों का ही प्रोडक्ट है, विच इज वेरी पॉपुलर। अल्कोफाइन, उसके बाद में 4 mm एग्रीगेट, जो कि आप रेगुलर सीयू से कर लीजिए, 4 mm 50%, 2 mm एग्रीगेट 50% एंड सिलिका सैंड। ये 3 चीजें आप मिलाइए, उसमें आप डालिए हाइपर प्लास्टिसाइजर, और यू कैन गो फॉर अ सुपर प्लास्टिसाइजर आल्सो। तो ये आप मिक्स करने से वाटर सीमेंट रेशियो 0.32 रखिए, ट्राई टू मेंटेन अ मिनिमम वाटर सीमेंट रेशियो, तो आपका माइक्रो कंक्रीट बन गया। नंबर 2, अभी हमको जब रिपेयरिंग के लिए माइक्रो कंक्रीट को फ्लोएबल करना पड़ता है, सेल्फ कॉम्पैक्टिंग करना पड़ता है। अब सेल्फ कॉम्पैक्टिंग के लिए बहुत सिंपल है, गो फॉर द सेम अल्कोफाइन सीमेंट, 4 mm 2 mm aggregate, silica sand, and go for the VMA, viscosity modifying agent। विस्कोसिटी मॉडिफाइंग एजेंट करिए, आपका फ्लोएबल कंक्रीट हो गया, वाइब्रेटर चलाने की जरूरत नहीं, जस्ट टैप ऑन द स्कैफोल्डिंग, आपको बहुत अच्छा, यू विल गेट अ वेरी गुड कंक्रीट।
सर एक क्वेश्चन ये है,
चंदू, मेक इट लास्ट है,
लास्ट
Yeah.
सर और 2 क्वेश्चन लेते हैं क्योंकि
हाँ ठीक है, 2 ले लीजिए, नो प्रॉब्लम।
अरे एक मिनट सर, व्हाट इज द करेक्ट मेथड टू चेक ओल्ड कंक्रीट स्ट्रेंथ?
करेक्ट मेथड टू चेक ओल्ड कंक्रीट स्ट्रेंथ?
हाँ, नहीं वो क्वेश्चन थोड़ा सा मेरे से ये हो गया है सर। एक ये है कि व्हाट इज द ट्रीटमेंट रिकमेंडेड एट कंस्ट्रक्शन जॉइंट्स ऑफ कंक्रीट स्ट्रक्चर टू अवॉइड एनी सेम आ रहा है, सॉरी सर। व्हाट आर द मोस्ट रिलायबल टेस्ट टू नो एग्जैक्ट कंप्रेसिव स्ट्रेंथ ऑफ एग्जिस्टिंग कंक्रीट स्ट्रक्चर?
मोस्ट एक्यूरेट है?
हाँ,
इसमें मोस्ट एक्यूरेट इज कोर कटिंग, core cutting test, and that too the cores without extracting the reinforcement. It is the 100% accurate test.
Sir, then in steel structure, if steel member found corroded, so thickness is reduced of that member, our mechanical property also get reduced, that is yield strength and other?
No, no. स्टील स्ट्रक्चर में क्या होता है, जब करोजन होता है, that creates a film on the steel structure, तो वो अल्ट्रासोनिक डिजिटल थिकनेस गेज है, उसके फिर वेल्डिंग के लिए डाइपेनिट्रेशन टेस्ट है, जिससे कि हम लोग इसको फाइंड कर सकते हैं, पर इससे मैकेनिकल प्रॉपर्टीज चेंज होती नहीं है, ओनली क्रॉस सेक्शन एरिया विल चेंज।
थैंक यू सर। बाकी सबके जवाब जो है हम ट्राई करेंगे बाय थ्रू मेल देने के लिए। मैं एक बार सबका धन्यवाद देता हूं, और खास करके दिलीप मसे सर का, जिन्होंने इतना कीमती समय और बहुत अच्छा नॉलेज दिया। खास करके उसमें सर 2 पॉइंट तो मेरे एकदम दिमाग में बैठे हैं, वो है वाटर सीमेंट रेशियो और कवर्स। आज तक हम उसे निगलेक्ट कर देते यार, क्या है, चलो चलने दो, लेकिन अभी मैं ये जब केस स्टडी देखा है दोनों, मैं कभी नहीं भूलूंगा कि इन दोनों को सबसे पहले ख्याल रखना है करके। मैं आप सबका एसीसी सीमेंट की ओर से और दिलीप सर की ओर से आप सबका थैंक यू बोलता हूँ। थैंक्स फॉर योर वैल्यूएबल टाइम गिवन टू द वेबिनार।
Okay, thank you from everybody. Thank you all. Once again, we request, stay home, stay safe. We will connect you tomorrow again in other session. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.